Okay, hi, good morning everyone. I'm again your teacher for today, Teacher Shelly, for our week 63rd, day 2 of our Maritime English lesson. So, good morning and welcome students for our Maritime English day 2. Okay. Yes, the Advanced Maritime Vocabulary Part 2 will be discussed today all about the maritime vocabulary words. No? So, in a while, we will continue with our lesson from our Part 1 last Monday. And in a while, okay, let's continue with our cargo and loading vocabulary. The weather, ship movement vocabulary, communication vocabulary, the environmental protection vocabulary, and the question and answer. Now, all about cargo and loading vocabulary. And by the way, I'm your teacher, Shelly. All right. So, yes, cargo vocabulary. These are the words or terms, no? Which includes all about goods on ships. Okay, when we say cargo, all the goods on ships, and then uh, these words are important for trade and shipping operations. Basically, no, that's uh, that's the reason why it is important for trade and shipping operations. Another, it is used in loading and transporting items. Okay? Cargo, the goods on ships. Right? Now, uh, these vocabulary words helps the crew handle the cargo safely. No, if you have common or standard cargo vocabularies, all right? So whenever you are practicing these terms properly, uh, it supports now an efficient work on board. Okay? So let's discuss it one by one. When we say cargo, these are the goods carried basically by the ship, right? Now, it can be food, it can be materials, okay, or products, okay? So, the main purpose of the many ships is to keep the cargo safe. It is stored safely during travel. Okay? Now, it is safely delivered to different ports. So, this term is one of a constant word that you can hear on board. Okay? The word cargo, meaning goods carried by a ship. Okay. Another word, we have what we call loading. Okay. Loading. Loading is placing a cargo onto the ship. Now, this term is done at ports or terminals. And it must be done safely and properly. Sometimes it uses cranes, no, or equipment just to load, okay, carefully the cargoes. All right? Loading, meaning placing cargo onto the ship. Some uses crane, or other equipment. And this one is done at ports or terminals. And it requires careful, a safe, and proper handling. Okay, this is a crane. Okay, here. So we have unloading or discharge. The word unloading or discharge means removing cargo from the ship once the ship reaches the port. Alright? Unloading is the opposite of loading. And it must follow proper procedures. Basically, to prevent damage to the cargo or the goods. Okay? Unloading. Or, shall we say, discharge. Alright. Another, we have this cargo hold. Okay, this is the crane. This is the cargo hold. Okay. The simple term for cargo hold is the storage inside the ship. Now, we have to keep the cargo hold clean as possible so that it will keep the cargo safe during travel. Okay? Now, cargo holds are designed for different types of cargoes. For this one, this is a containers. Container maybe uh, it has different food inside, not perishable, huh? Okay, there are different grains. Okay, so example. Now, normally the cargo hold is located below the deck. Okay, and it must be clean as mentioned and secure. Right? So that is what we call cargo hold. This one. Okay. We have another term, container. This one. Okay. These are containers. Alright. Containers. This is a very large storage box. Okay. And used, of course, for transporting goods. Okay. Now, this one is used uh, uh, um, standardized size for easy handling, no, of goods. And then, also at the same time, it protects the cargo from damage. Okay? Basically, from the name itself, this is used in container ships. By the name itself, container. A large storage box used for transporting goods for easy handling to protect the cargo from damage. Okay, we have here a bulk cargo. Bulk cargo. This is the deck, right? Yes, and this is the hull, the body. The floor is the deck. This is the bridge. Remember? The mast. At the back is the stern. At the front is the bow or bow. Alright. So, bulk cargo. It's unpacked goods. Wherein bulk ship is carrying, like the grain, example to that, the coal, all right, the finished product of oil. So this is now loaded in the cargo hold, large quantities. Okay, there you go, stored in the cargo hold. Okay, here it requires a special handling of the cargo. Okay, that is bulk cargo. The other one is container, right? Okay. We have dangerous cargo. The term dangerous cargo can cause harm. That's why, by the name itself, dangerous. So, meaning the cargo can cause harm. Maybe it includes chemicals or maybe flammable items. So, it needs now a special care and storage. Okay? You have to follow the safety rules. You have to properly label if required. You put dangerous sign, or if it is chemicals, you put chemical. You put flammable signs. Okay? You have to properly label the cargo if it can cause harm, the dangerous cargo. Okay, another, when we say stowage, okay, stowage is arranging cargo properly. All right, can you see that? The containers, they are arranged properly. Of course, why? Now, the reason why you arrange the cargo properly is to prevent movement during travel. Okay? Also, in order for the ship balance. And another, to protect the cargo from damage. So, stowage is an important for safety. You arrange the cargo properly. The word there is stowage. Okay? Okay. Now, for the second topic is all about the weather vocabulary. Okay. The maritime weather vocabulary is, of course, uh, supports safe voyages. Why is it important? Of course, for the navigation and safety. And it helps crew prepare for weather changes. So if you know maritime weather vocabularies, basically, it is used in forecasts and reports, no? So this one further describes sea conditions. Okay? That's why we include this in our lesson. Weather forecast. Okay. Uh, I'm sure all the crew members know this word, weather forecast. When we say weather forecast, It predicts future weather. Okay, you have to always check the weather forecasts because it helps plan the ship routes for safety, of course. Through these weather forecasts, it warns us about bad conditions happening. Okay? So this must be updated regularly, meaning, if possible, every hour. If you are doubtful, you request this weather forecast always, regularly. Another term, wind speed. Yes, of course, by the name itself, it shows how fast wind blows because wind affects ship movement, right? And this is important for navigation. Imagine there's a strong winds. It can be dangerous. This one is measured in knots or kilometer per hour. Okay? Wind speed. Another word, storm. All right, storm. Strong winds and strong rain. Storm. It can cause rough seas, no? For strong winds and rain. It could be dangerous for ships. That's why it requires caution. And it may change ship route as possible if you will encounter storm through, of course, from the weather forecast. All right. Wave height. Okay. High waves is really dangerous. Okay? That's why wave height, it affects ship stability. Okay? So, once you were able to measure the wave height in meters, important safety decisions are made because high waves are dangerous. Okay? So, wave height is the size of the waves. Okay? Okay. When we say visibility, all right, this is a clear visibility. Okay. It is how far you can see. Yes, visibility. So, basically, again, this is important for navigation. Okay. Now, this is reduced by fog or rain. Once there's a heavy fog, once there's a strong rain, sometimes there's a low visibility and it increases risk. Sometimes it's zero visibility. You really cannot see anything because of the fog or rain. So it needs extra protection or extra caution. I mean, this is how far you can see the visibility. Okay? Another, the word fog. The word fog. All right. Most of the time, fog is thick, so there will be a zero visibility. Fog is the mist at sea, no? Mist at sea. And it causes reduce or zero visibility. And it really makes navigation difficult. So it requires a slow movement once there's a heavy fog. All you can do is to use the radar and your signals, no? You just can only rely on your radar and in your signals. If there is a heavy fog or thick, that is a thick mist at sea. Okay. So there's also typhoon word. This one is an example of a typhoon. It's simply a mature tropical cyclone, no? Like um like in Japan, in Philippines, in Vietnam, we are prone to typhoon. Yeah. And another we have hurricane. This one is an example of a hurricane. Now, this is mostly at the North Atlantic and Northeastern Pacific, like in the States, no? In the USA, it's hurricane. In Caribbean countries, hurricane. Now, when we say cyclone, this is experienced at South Pacific and in Indian Ocean. Okay? So, that's how we differentiate typhoon, hurricane, and cyclone. This typhoon is common in the Philippines, Japan, and Vietnam. Hurricane in the US and in the Caribbean. And cyclone is in the South Pacific and Indian Ocean. Alright? So, let's talk about the ship movement vocabulary. Okay. So, ship movement, okay. In maritime world, a ship moves in six different ways based on three axes. Okay? Now, these six different ways or ship movement is divided into two. We have here rotational, we have transitional or linear movement. So, we have pitch, rotation or rotation movement, we have the roll, rotational movement, we have the yaw, rotational, we have the heave, that's transitional or linear, we have the sway, transitional, and the surge, transitional. And we also call list and heel and trim. So as we go on, we will discuss this one by one. Okay. When we say pitch, the movement of this is rotational. All right? Pitch. Pitch is the up and down movement of the ship's bow and stern. So if this is the bow, if this is the stern, the up and down movement of the bow and the stern looks like a seesaw motion. Okay? If the bow moves up, the stern part moves down. If the stern part moves up, the bow part moves down. So it looks like a seesaw motion, the front and the back part. Now, the pitch movement happens when the ship rotates around its traverse axis, the side by side. All right? Now, usually, uh, this is caused by heading directly into the waves. Okay? If you're heading directly into the waves, pitch, shape movement is experienced. All right? And then another is the roll. Again, it's under rotational movement. So, roll occurs, or the side-by-side tilting of the vessel. Side-by-side tilting, side by side. So, it's rolling side by side. It occurs now. We experience rolling rotation or rotation. It occurs when the ship rotates around a longitudinal axis. Okay? So you will experience a roll ship movement, the side-by-side tilting of the ship. All right. And this is now most often the roll or rotational, the most uncomfortable movement for crew. Okay? And worst is it can cause cargo to shift from side to side. Okay? Side to side. It will tilt on the right, it will tilt on the left, or it will tilt on the port side, it will tilt on the starboard side. So this type of roll rotation or the ship movement that is very uncomfortable for the crew, because also it can cause cargoes to shift from port side to starboard side. All right. We have here the yaw. Sorry. Okay, the yaw ship movement. So yaw is the fishtailing or the swinging of oars. Yaw is the movement of the ship's bow to the port side and then to the starboard side. Okay? Movement of the ship's bow to the port side and to the starboard side. We have another term, heave, which is transitional or linear. So, the linear vertical movement of the entire ship, the up and down movement, you're like an elevator. The whole vessel moves bodily up and down on the waves. Okay, up and down movement. Give. And then we have sway, transitional. The side by side movement of the entire ship. This is not a tilt, Not a tilt. But the whole body of the vessel is moving from port side to the starboard side. Okay? Now, this one often caused by side currents, no, or winds. That's what we call sway. All right, we have another word here, surge, rotational. We have the jerking forward or backward. This is the forward and backward linear movement, okay, along the ship's longitudinal axis. Surge is often caused by follow-on seas or changes in engine speed. We also have list versus heel. So, um, list or heel is often confused with the roll ship movement. Heel, what we call, describes a semi-permanent tilt. Sometimes, heel happens if there's a strong or a caused by an external forces like the wind, or like if you're turning or maneuvering the vessel. So, for the list, it is caused by internal forces. No? Internal. Like, uh, you were able to have an unevenly distributed cargo or fuel. So, internal forces are present. No? It is caused by internal forces. Now, that's the difference between list and heel. Okay. Another term, trim. Okay, trim. When we say trim, that is the difference between the draft, okay, at the bow, if this is the bow part, and the stern. Okay? That is the difference. Look at the arrow. Here is much shorter and here is much longer. So meaning it's not balanced. Okay? Your trim by bow is not balanced. Maybe there's a heavy cargo at the bow, at the stern part. So this is very important, the trim. The difference between draft at the bow part and the stern part. So trim by the head is the front, which is deeper in the water. While trim by the stern, the back part or the stern part is deeper in water. Now, usually, this one is preferred for, the better propeller immersion. Okay? So, trim is important. It should be balanced as much as possible. All right. We have communication vocabulary. Okay. When we communicate, not all the time we have same nationality on board. Sometimes there are two different nationalities. There are Russians, sometimes there are Australians, or a Japanese and the Filipinos. Also, We have Koreans with Chinese. So, all the nationalities have different language, right? That's why the IMO, okay, make or developed a standard marine communication phrases. Okay. In order to avoid confusion between different nationalities. That's why they developed that, the SMCP. Now, SMCP, they call it the universal language of the sea. Because here, it uses a specific message markers, no? To tell the other crew member exactly what kind of information is coming. Alright? That's why it's very important. Number one example, or the term used in SMCP. We have message markers. These are the instructions and the advices. In maritime radio, okay, we start sentences with markers. Alright? So, the intent is to clear and even if the signal is weak. Okay? Now, a command must be followed, especially during emergencies. Okay? It must be followed, like the example uh, from a vessel traffic service. No? You must follow that. Now, the difference between the two, advice is a suggestion. Now, this is based on a local knowledge. Okay? But still, as mentioned in our first lesson, the captain still decides, or the captain decides the final decision. Right? So, you have to identify about warning and information. Okay? We have now the instruction that must be followed. We have the advice or a suggestion. We have warning and information. A warning is alerting others to a danger. Like for example, a drifting buoy or a storm. You are giving warning. You are alerting others to a danger. While the information is providing facts without requiring action. Like for example, weather report. That's an information, a very important information. Weather report. Okay. So we have already 4 message markers, right? We have in uh we have I'm sorry, instruction, we have advice, we have warning, we have information. All right. Okay? Here, let's talk about phonetic alphabet. Okay. When we say phonetic alphabet, this is crucial for spelling out vessel names, call signs, or coordinates. So a sample of this, the vessel name, instead of saying tango, you say it Tango, okay? T for tango, A for alpha, N for November, okay? G for what? Goat. O for Oscar, okay? So, to prevent spelling errors over a static field radios, mariners used the NATO phonetic alphabet. We have Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, A, B, C, D, E, F for Foxtrot, H for Hotel, India, Juliet, Lima, Mama, November, Oscar, Cape Papa, and OPQ, Quebec, R for Romeo, S for Sierra, T for Tango, Universe, Victory, YOLO, Zebra, so on and so forth. Alright? That's the phonetic alphabet. Okay. Yes, position reporting, we have latitude and longitude. Now here, communication regarding location must be precise. The latitude and longitude. Instead of saying near the coast, mariners provide coordinates. No? You have to mention the latitude and longitude. So, what is latitude? The distance from north to south. And then longitude from east to west. Okay? Don't be confused to that. Latitude, north to south. For longitude, east to west. Okay? That's how you do position reporting. Okay? We have ship directions, the port, and starboard. Yes, if you're facing the ship, your left part is the port side, which is in red light at night. Starboard, facing the vessel on your right. Green light at night. Okay? We also have what we call forward and backward. So forward or aft. This is toward the front or towards the back. Forward or aft. Okay, that's how we are going to identify port directions. Okay? The over versus out rule. Yes, this is also very important. This is very common in using the radio. Over and out rule. So, a proper radio etiquette is vital. Yes, to keep the channels clear. When we say over, you already have finished speaking and you are now just waiting for the reply. When we say out, you have finished the conversation and you are hanging up the radio. Do not or never say over and out together. Okay? Never. Again, when you say over, you have just finished talking or speaking to the other line. And you are just waiting for the reply. When you say out, you have finished the conversation and you are hanging up the radio. All right? And never say over and out together. That is the proper radio etiquette. And that is vital to keep the channels clear. All right? So, there is distress and urgency. We have Mayday and we have Panpan. These two are specific words, no? Used to signal the level of an emergency. When we say Mayday, there is a life-threatening distress. Like for example, there is a sinking vessel. There is a fire. You have to repeat it 3 times. Okay? There's a life-threatening distress. When you say pan-pan, okay? When you say pan-pan, it is an urgent but not immediately life-threatening. Like for example, there's an engine failure. Okay? There is a engine failure in a safe area. So you call for a pan-pan. Now, security, that is a safety warning. A navigational hazard. Okay. Um, these 3 words are distress and urgency terms. Mayday, there's a life-threatening distress. Pan-pan, there's an urgency but not life-threatening. Okay, and then the security are the safety warnings or navigational hazards. Okay, the bridge to engine room telegraph. Okay, the bridge and engine room telegraph. Telegraph, okay, is the modern digital version. Okay, it communicates speed, uh, communicates speed orders from the bridge to the engine room. Okay, so the communication isn't just external or internal. Okay, so the common commands is full ahead, the half ahead, the half slow ahead, or the dead slow. Okay, so those are the common commands in bridge to engine telegraph. Now, bridge to engine room telegraph, okay, it communicates between the bridge to the engine room. So, as I said, the common commands, full ahead, half ahead, slow ahead, and dead slow ahead. Okay? It's an internal communication. All right. So, we have an environmental protection vocabulary. Okay. So, environmental protection vocabulary mainly focuses on the essential or the important vocabulary and then the regulations that are used in maritime industry to protect the oceans and the marine life. Okay? That's why there is environmental protection vocabulary. Okay. Now, number one term is what we call the MARPOL or the International Convention. The main international convention, marine pollution, MARPOL in short. All right. So, uh, MARPOL aim at preventing pollution from ships. Okay? Now, in our training or in your training, it is divided into 6 annexes. Now, each annex covers a different type of pollutant. Okay? Such as oil, we have sewage, we have air emissions. Okay? So, basically, the simple term for this is the rule book for ocean protection. MARPOL. Okay? Again, this is the rule book for ocean protection. This is the main international convention which aims in preventing pollution from ships. Okay? So, it is divided in 6 annexes. Each type or each annex have different types like the pollutant, the oil, the sewage, or air emissions. Okay? Main international convention. So, we also have here oily water separator, OWS. Okay. This is a piece of equipment. Okay? This oily water separator, by the name itself, it separates the oil from the bilge water. Okay, later we will discuss about the bilge water. What is bilge water? Now, this house, before the before the separation of the oil and the bilge water, the water is already discharged overboard. Okay, to make sure that the water pumped into the sea meets the strict environmental standards. Okay? So, the simple term for this is that oily water separator is the filter that keeps out or that keeps oil out of the ocean. So this is an equipment, okay, that separates the oil from the bilge water so that the water is discharged overboard, okay, ensures that the water pumped into the sea meets now the environmental standards. Alright? Is it clear? That is oily water separator. Okay. Now, this is the bilge water. Okay. Bilge water is a mixture of a water, oil, and other chemicals. Okay? Now, this one, bilge water collects in the is collected in the lowest part of the ship. Okay? Bilge water. This is collected in the lowest part of the ship. Now, um, this water must be treated or stored or just stored in a handling or in a holding tank until it can be disposed of safely at a port. Alright? So, in simple words, bilge water is the dirty water collected at the bottom of the ship. Okay? Dirty. Like there is oil in it, there is a dirty water on it, there is a chemicals on it. So it is now just stored first in the holding tank until such time that you will reach the port and ready for the disposal of the bilge water. Alright? Did you understand? Okay. We have another term, the ballast water management or BWM. Okay. The simple term for this is managing water that are used for ship balance. Of course, to protect the local sea life. Okay? And then, basically, of course, to avoid damaging the local ecosystems. Okay? That's the purpose of this ballast water management. Because vessels must treat this water before you pump this out. Okay? Um, Sometimes because ballast water can carry an invasive species like tiny crabs or algae, okay, and then from one part of the world to another, like for example, if you were able to pump in a ballast water with invasive species like tiny crabs and algae, and then you were able to pump it out when you reach another part, of the world. So it's really not safe, no, for the environment. Okay, that is why also ballast water is used to stabilize a ship. This is also used to stabilize a ship. Okay, next we have SOx and NOx, SOx and NOx, air emissions, obnoxious. Okay, SOx and NOx. What is SOx? SOx is a gas, a sulfur oxides, while the NOx is the nitrogen oxide. Both are gases. SOx and NOx are gases that ships emits. Okay? Now, they use, or the ships use scrubbers or low sulfur fuel, especially in designated emission control areas. So, um, the simple term is reducing smog and acid rain, which is caused by ship engine. Okay? Acid rain plus smog are the product of this are SOx and NOx, sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides. Right? So we also have garbage management plan, the so-called GMP. Okay. Every ship must have a garbage management plan. It's a must. Now, this one is written, or this one is a written procedure for collecting, for storing, and disposing of garbage. Okay? Like plastics, plastics are prohibited from being thrown overboard anywhere in the world. It is strictly prohibited. That's why you have to keep all your plastic containers on board until such time that you will reach the port and it will be collected. Okay? So, here, it should be collected and the ships will dispose that and they will recycle that actually. So, having a garbage management plan is a must to all the vessels or to all ships. Okay, we have here oil record book or the ORB. ORB is a legal document actually wherein the crew, okay, records every movement of oil on the ship, including the fuel, loading, and the disposal of oily waste. No? So, this one is heavily inspected by the port authorities, port state control. Yes, because of the environmental rule. So basically, the simple term for oil record book is a diary of all oil-related activities on board. You have to record everything. Okay, the fuel loading and the disposal of oily wastes. This is the number one book that the port authorities or the port state authorities check the oil ORB. So we also have the SOPEP, the shipboard oil pollution emergency plan. SOPEP. This emergency plan, the simple term for SOPEP is for cleaning up accidental spills. This is a manual actually, no? This is a manual that tells the crew exactly what to do if there is an oil spill, and it includes a contact list for the authorities whenever there's an oil spill. And then this is since it is a manual, there's an instruction on how to use the spill kits, no? The like the absorbent pads, the booms, no? This is a manual actually. Okay? Another special areas. We have special areas. The IMO designates certain parts of the world as special areas. So there are. And these places, like the Mediterranean or the Baltic Seas, are one of the examples of special areas. And through these areas, no, these places, it is much stricter rules apply for discharging any type of waste. Why? Because the environment is extra sensitive in this area, Mediterranean or the Baltic Seas. Okay? So the simple term for special areas are protected zones. With these areas, like Mediterranean and the Baltic Seas, are the toughest or has the toughest environmental rules. It's very, very strict in these special areas or protected zones. Okay. Oh, let's go to our question and answer. Okay, for question number 1, which term describes the process of securing cargo inside the ship's hold or on deck to prevent it from shifting during a voyage? Okay, so what is that process in securing the cargo? It's lashing. That is the process of securing a cargo inside a ship's hold or deck to prevent it from shifting during a voyage. Alright. For number 2, now if a mariner mentions swell while discussing the weather, what are they referring to? It's the long, regular waves that have traveled from a distant storm. That is what they call swell. A long, regular waves that have traveled from a distant storm. Okay? Then another for number 3. Which type of ship movement? Okay. Refers to the rotational tilting of a vessel from side to side, and which is often caused by waves hitting the side of the hull. What is that rotational tilting ship movement called? Is it the pitch, the yaw, surge, or the roll? Tilting. Okay, it's the surge. Alright? It's the surge. The type of ship movement that refers to rotational tilting of a vessel from side to side, which is often caused by waves hitting the side of the hull. It's the surge. Okay. For number 4, in standard maritime radio communication, which message marker should be used before giving a specific command that must be followed by another vessel? It is called instruction. Okay? That is an example of a message marker that should be used before giving a specific command must be followed by another vessel. It's what we call instruction. Okay. Another for number 5, under MARPOL regulations. What is the name of the equipment used to ensure that water pumped overboard from the engine room contains less than 15 parts per million of oil? Pump out. That is what we call the oily water separator. That is the OWS. Okay? Oh, oh, yes, we're done for today's lesson. And, okay, we're done for today. And, all right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to our Wednesday lesson of our Maritime English course. And hope you've learned something. And I'll see you all on a week after. That's for our 65th week. And this is all for today. I'm again your teacher, Teacher Shelly. So have a good day, everyone. I'll see you all on another week after. Okay, bye.